What's up, everybody? Let's turn the music down a little bit. It's an afternoon stream. I don't quite know what to do with myself. There's like actual natural light and all sorts of crazy shit going on that we don't normally have to deal with. Yeah, so normally we do these at night, but we went ahead and threw this one together because there were some folks who were saying that the evening streams are hard with kids and things like that, and got kind of the calendar cleared off for today and got everything taken care of, and it's going on what, 2:45 here Eastern time. So I figured, what the hell, we'd throw something together for the West Coast lunch folks or for the East Coast folks who are getting cleaned up for the day, finishing up their day. For those of you for whom this is your first time, we are working on the UCS Imperial Star Destroyer. We've gotten through 12 of the bags. We're doing like the outside plates. It looks like bag 13 that we're doing is actually going to be this side over here on top of it, and we've just been rolling through. So if you're bored, if you want to tune in, we'll get some decent music in the background. We will grab an appropriate beverage for your time of day and circumstance, and we'll go ahead and run it out and get it started. The Discord is open. There is a Discord channel for it if you want to jump in there. I'm going to put the link to the Discord in the YouTube streaming chat. So give me just a second. Let me invite, copy, chat, and we'll just put, come on. There we go. Discord link. And if you haven't joined the Discord before, go through the process of agreeing to the rules and the whole deal, and then down in meeting rooms, down at the bottom, there will be one specifically for bricks and beverages. So if you have any problems finding it, go ahead and put something in the YouTube chat. I'm happy to help you kind of figure out where you're going over on the Discord side. And I've got the chat open. I'm happy to respond to anything in chat. But for those of you who've got a headset and want to do the voice chat side of things, please feel free. That's what Discord is for. So with that, I'm going to, first I want to check and see kind of what the latency is here. One of the things that we found out on the last chat was that there was like a 27-second delay between what I was streaming and what was showing up on YouTube. So I made some changes. I upped the bit rate a lot. We're well north of 10,000 KB per second. And I changed the actual YouTube streaming settings to ultra low latency. So I am 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's only about 3 seconds, which is way better. Not as good as we were getting it over on Mixer, but definitely way better. Awesome. Honestly, either way is fine, Brian. You can chat in the YouTube chat. I've got it open. If you want to throw it in Discord, whatever's easiest for you. That Bricks and Beverages room is audio only. So I mean, if you want to DM me in Discord, that's fine. Or I've got the YouTube chat open, and I'm happy to interact there as well. More than happy to help out. There were actually a couple folks who had said that the 9 p.m. Eastern was late for them, so gives me an excuse on one of the days that we stream to bring it in and do it at a different time, which is kind of fun. So this will be good. We'll get a couple bags of work done, and then get some dinner, and then back to the grind for the rest of the evening. So let's go ahead and get started. got bag 13, and again, these are the bags we've been doing are pretty simple and straightforward. It's lots of flat pieces, lots of big flat pieces, a little bit of, you know, decorative stuff around the edges as we put stuff together. But these are, I mean, it's all outside skin stuff, so there's not a whole lot of nuance to it. They're just, you know, big flat pieces that we're putting together and that turn into kind of the outside edge. Nothing too complicated. I'm sure that once we get into the bridge and tower section and into that part of the ship, that it will get kind of small piece and complicated again. But for now, it's kind of nice to be able to zip through these large bags. Yeah, definitely. Well, on bedtimes, I mean, it's not just putting the kid to bed, it's kind of the deep breath and everybody relax that happens afterwards. That, yeah, totally get it, totally understand. And like I said, more than happy to change up the schedule a little bit to accommodate more folks. You know, the video on demands have gotten a fair number of people following along. So even for the people who can't tune in live, there's you know, the recordings have been pretty cool. But with 3 days a week, and I mean, it's a pandemic. It's not like any of us are going anywhere, right? More than happy to kind of move the schedule around where we have the ability to. No big deal at all. Yeah, very weird not being in airplanes. Although, so for those of you watching, my normal job, you know, in the ago, when the world was sane, my normal job as a cloud advocate over in the Azure engineering team at Microsoft, I fly constantly. I think I did 240 some odd thousand miles in the air last year. And since the pandemic broke out, where I was actually in like Prague and then went to Copenhagen and was waiting to go to Zurich when they finally kind of shut everything down, Microsoft sent us all home, and I haven't gotten on a plane in, what, 150 days or kind of whatever it is at this point. And it feels like the whole world, the whole job, the whole how we interact with customers has changed so much for the better. Like, I am not at all unhappy about not being on planes. You know, my kids are not unhappy about me not being on planes. But it's been a pretty quick transition into something that is not recognizable based on what I've been doing for the last couple of years. So yes, it is very different. It is very weird, but I am not unhappy with it. If we can create better content and reach more people and do it without having to put the burden of getting on a plane and flying all over the world on our employees and on our families and everything like that, 100% a better option for everyone all the way around. So yeah, no arguments from me at all. It has been expensive because I'm bored, and that means that I've ended up building an awful lot of things, be they Legos or house projects or whatever. So it's been a little bit on the expensive side, but that's okay. Everybody's happy, everybody's healthy. Hasn't been too crazy. All right, what are we doing? We're putting in the front. What's the deal? Are you just one? Yep, you're one plate too far in. You go there. No, one more. You go there. I think so. Alright. I'm confused. It's the only white piece. Comes out 2 past you. Yep. You go there. You do not go there. Ah, it's not that piece. It's this one. And everything works as expected. Yeah, it's a little on the large side. We now that we got the low latency working, we may do another quick tour through. Back behind me is the library, and I've converted some of it, and I guess you can kind of see it over my shoulder a little bit. I've converted some of it into just showcases for different models and the different Lego stuff that I'm building. And there are 2 bookcases right directly over this shoulder here. One has the Millennium Falcon that's sitting on it right there, and then there's an empty one on the back that just has the box for this. And I've measured it with the Bricklink kind of display stand, and it should fit, I think. I guess we'll find out. Who knows? It'll be an adventure. Yeah, there's just a lot of Lego, and so it was nice to have. I mean, the bookshelf was far more full of books at one point, but now that there's some room over there, I felt like that was as good a place as any to turn into a little bit of a display room. I mean, it's not like there's a whole lot else going on over there. And I like to think I didn't do a terrible job of kind of setting everything up so that it doesn't look like something that's completely not professional, what's the word? Doesn't look like it's something that's just kind of thrown over there, or a whole bunch of toys thrown in the corner or anything like that. All right, here's the big square. All right, you go there, and you go there. Okay, that's better. And we're going here. Yep, that's it. Did you see that explosion in Beirut today? That was crazy. I found I guess it was just a link to someone who had shot the video when it was, like, the building was burning, but before it kind of went and blew the roof off the place. And that's some scary shit. Like, that was crazy. I mean, there's no way that, I don't think I saw like an actual, here's how many people were hurt kind of thing, but there's no way that wasn't going to do some pretty significant damage. It was pretty crazy. I don't think I know anybody who's over in Lebanon, but definitely hope everyone is as okay as they can be. It was like, I've never seen anything like that. It was like a volcano going off. It's pretty nuts. Yeah, if you haven't seen that explosion, Brian, I retweeted one from my Twitter account. You can go take a look at it. It is crazy. Like, crazy in the most terrifying use of the word. Report is available from my bed. That's crazy. I saw that it was a fireworks factory, believe it or not. At least that was the report that I saw online, was that it was a fireworks factory. And if you watch the video there at the beginning, like, you can see little stuff that's popping off in there, and then it hits something and just goes crazy. Like, the first time I saw it, I didn't know kind of what to expect, and the first time I watched that video, it was like, holy shit balls. It's pretty crazy. All right, what do we got over here? Yeah, 2020. Kind of unreal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. And then for these, I have no idea what we're going to do with these. Let's figure out where they go. 3 from there. There. And then there. All right. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, these are annoying as hell. My OCD hates them already. They're not really attached to anything, they're just put this halfway. But not all of them. Some of them come all the way out. This one actually goes all the way back. That's annoying. Okay. And then 6 of these. Which I also hate. Okay, where are we going? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, did we miss? I know where that's going to go. I'm fine with that being extra. This is a rare piece to have an extra of. Yeah, this is a Blade 15. It's pretty phenomenal. I've had no issues with it. Oh, look, there it is. Okay, so we're not missing something. All right, I'm not going crazy. Have had no issues with it. It's quiet as hell. When I was streaming with the G5, you could hear it. Like, you could actually hear it in the microphone with all of the noise it was making, and that has not been an issue with this one at all. All right, let's turn this monster around and not spill my drink in the process. There we go. Okay. So we're going to put this guy right here. And much like the other ones, we've got... So interesting. All right, so we've got 3 ball and sockets. The sockets are here, the balls are here. But much like we ran into with some of these other panels, even though the superstructure has 3, there's only 2 on here. On the bottom, it uses all 3. On the top, it doesn't use everything that it has available to it. So let's see what happens if we put you up there. And snap and snap. Like that. All right, so those 2 are holding there. It doesn't look like there's anything but gravity holding on the back. It just kind of rests on top of there. Maybe this next piece will lay on top of it, but I don't see anything that's holding it. And then between the pieces, where they come together over here, it's got a little piece for us to use to join them. And then this guy goes where? Oh. Up here. Oh, okay. So it's just going to be another one right along that seam to kind of hold those 2 pieces together, like that. All right, that's not too bad. Let's see if we can't do. Let's see if we can't do a ride along here. We'll see how this works with the new YouTube settings. So let's see if. Boop. Oh, look at that! All right. So here's where those 2 pieces came together, and you can kind of see that there's a piece on the bottom and then a piece on the top holding them together. And then we added this one over the seam to hold that together. And then over here on the back, it's just gravity. And you can see there's nothing holding it on, it's just resting it down. It may be that once we put the other side on, that there will be something that bridges them, but right now, like it's just gravity that's holding them. So, all right. Good job with the remote camera. Way to go, Android.
Yeah, gravity's all that holds me in my chair.
Let's see if we can't get damn earbuds working again. All right, can you hear me now? Yeah, it doesn't, Hey, how's that? Can you hear me in there now? There we go. Nope, and it still changed it. It's like it works for a second, and then it moves it over into the headset. Let's do this. I think it might be the headset. Hold on just a second. Let's, wow. Alright, what about that? Can you hear me in Discord? Yeah. I think it might just be those earbuds. Or Bluetooth, or who knows? Who knows, man? Who knows? Oh, alright. So we got that one figured out in the back. Let's pull chat back up. Yeah, the live view, the NDI from my phone over wireless, like there's no scientific reason for that to work as well as it does at all. But it's been reasonably solid every time we've pulled it out, so I'll take it. All right, let's set you over there. And we need to go get bag 14. Now, I'm guessing bag 14 is identical to bag 13, just flipped. I think we're going to do the same thing again on the other side. Looks like we've got some different detail stuff that's on here. We've got a bunch of these round plates, which already annoy me. I don't know if it's just the way my OCD works, but circles are just generally annoying. They're hard to line up on things. Hard to make them all straight. No, so one of my teammates draws all of the bit mascot logos that my team uses when we do conferences or make swag or stickers or whatever. And she did all of them as circles. And they look great and people love them and I'm happy to bring them. But I actually wrote an action script in Photoshop that went through and took all of the raw files that were circles and masked them with a hexagon. Simply because I told her, I was like, look, I love the art, but like, I can't put circle stickers on a laptop. Like, how do you keep them straight? How do you line them up? How do you make sure that the top is the top? Like, this is not how anything works. And she laughed, and so we actually set it up as a triggered GitHub action at this point, so that anytime she uploads something to the GitHub repo, my system pulls it down and adds the hexagon to it, and then throws it back up into a different folder. What did I study in college? Oh, Jesus. Mostly how not to finish college. I was an English major for a while. I was pre-med for a while. I was kind of all over the place. I was literally the least prepared human to ever go away to college. Like, as the oldest of 6 kids in a family of people where no one had ever gone to college. Yeah, college was one of those kind of epic disasters, like that you read about in books or watch in movies. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it depends on what your end goal is. I certainly enjoyed myself. I certainly learned a lot. There wasn't much of that had anything to do with a classroom. No, I actually tested out of basically 2.5 years of math just based on my AP scores from high school. Like, geometry is like telling stories with math, and that's annoying. But math in general is super fun to me. It's something that my son has kind of figured out that all of the numbers make sense, and like an equal sign is the greatest thing in the world, because it means that you might have to work to figure it out, but I promise you that it's going to be the same thing on both sides. But circles, I don't know what it is. My brain dislikes the entire concept of pi. The entire thing. Like, it's just nonsense. Like, what do you mean it's not a number with an end? Like, that no matter what you do, the equal sign will never actually be true, because you can never calculate one of the numbers on either side of it. That's a bunch of bullshit. I like that I just made you speechless there for a minute. Yeah. And the bigger the project, the more that last cut is going to be like, well, it was supposed to be this. Yeah. But that's the great part that's the great part. And you are categorically correct, which is why the on the page, on the chalkboard side of it made me so happy, because it wasn't an approximation. There was an actual equal sign, and that everything on either side actually all resolved and worked out until you put pi in there. And then, even if you got to the right answer, in my brain I always knew that's not completely accurate. It's messy. I don't like messy math. Oh, sure. And that's, I mean, and there's, my brother-in-law is like an architectural engineer. Like he builds stadiums and parks and subdivisions and like his whole world is trying to make the approximation, trying to make the delta between the blueprint and the approximation cost as little as possible. And I could never do that. Like I could never have a job where I was dependent on the least common denominator and their measuring tape to put together, you know, something that I had built and planned and budgeted for in, you know, I couldn't do it. His ability to be okay with that messiness of real life when it comes to the math and comes to the design, I'm in awe of it, because, I mean, shit, I don't like circle pieces and Legos. The last thing I need to be doing is building anything that matters. See, everything's a square piece. Everything fits in a straight line. It's glorious. Absolutely glorious. It's close enough for me. It's just good enough. Now, what did I just do there? Is that what I did there? Yes. You don't belong there. Instead, that should be you. And you. Much better. Much better. Excellent. It looks like Azure is presenting at the first, I guess one of the upcoming Carolina, South Florida virtual VMUGs. So that should be interesting. I covered all of the VMUGs last year, and this year I trained a bunch of the global black belts, the kind of purpose-built field architects, to handle that. So there may be a couple of them that I join in on, but the easiest way for me to get the sales teams to pay for that was to also give them the responsibility of presenting them. So there will probably be a couple of them that Shannon and I will get thrown into just from a scheduling standpoint. But as of right now, that's all field teams. It was pretty crazy. Like this, you know, I mean, one of those stories that I don't necessarily think that I've shared. I think I did 9 VMUGs last year, 9 or 10. However many I could scrounge together budget for, because Microsoft had never presented at a VMUG in like 10 straight years or something. And started in Boston and then kind of did a full slate, and it was ridiculous. I mean, it was people sitting on the floor because they didn't have enough chairs. Ridiculous, like embarrassingly ridiculous. And part of it is just, I think all of the VMware on whatever cloud provider stuff is popular, particularly with people who've been using that cloud provider. And part of it is just, I think, a lot of pent-up demand for Azure stuff that we hadn't been taking care of in that community. So the last 2, I brought this guy, Trevor, who's doing the one in this next one that's coming up. I brought him just as a training. Like, he used to work for VMware, I think, in southern Florida. So he knew the product, he knew the community. He just didn't know kind of the positioning of what we were doing, that sort of stuff. So took him down there, Indianapolis maybe, Phoenix, I don't even remember. We took him down there, you know, had him sit up front and just kind of, you know, introduced him in case anybody had any questions afterwards, that sort of thing, and then did the presentation. And it was another one of those, you know, 50 people more than the room holds. You know, doors have to be open because the fire marshal's freaking out, kind of shit. And we get done, and Trevor and I are just kind of talking. You know, here's what it looks like. Here's how it works. And this guy comes up with his iPad, and he says, "Where do I buy this?" I was like, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "I'm logged into my Azure account. Where do I buy this? I want to deploy a cluster right now." And I was like, "Well, the clusters, if you do a 3-year commitment on them, the clusters start at about, you know, $12,000 a month. So we generally have to whitelist customers so that they don't get themselves in trouble. They don't deploy something and then realize, oh boy, this, like, I actually have to pay for this." And he says, "That's very smart. I completely understand. I'll wait." And I was like, "Okay, well, we'll have somebody call you." He's like, No. I'll wait while you go whitelist this for me." And I was like, "Okay, like, let me finish answering some questions. Give me like 15 minutes. I'll meet you at the restaurant right outside here." And Trevor's just looking at me like, what the fuck just happened? And we go and look up this guy's account, and he's, I mean, they've already got like a huge amount of Azure spend, and he just didn't know that there was a VMware version, that could be hosted and run on Azure. And so, Trevor's all trying to figure out, like, is this guy pranking us? Is he doing it? And I was like, no, like this is probably exactly what he needed for a project, and he just didn't know it existed, and now it existed, so he wants it. And so we, like, at the VMUG, whitelisted this for him so that he could deploy a 3-node cluster using his iPad into his existing Azure subscription. And I want to say that they ended up, having 6 or 8 hosts worth of stuff in there, and had, used Azure Migrate to move a whole bunch of their on-prem stuff over into the vSAN cluster that comes with it. And we got done, and Trevor, like, who's still, I mean, he spent the better part of the last year doing like the pre-sales architecture, right? Trying to explain to customers that it's just VMware, and it looks just like if you had a cluster that was in a data center that you were renting space in, and like this whole process of trying to get people excited in it or interested in it or understand it. And we literally did a 45-minute VMUG presentation, and the dude dropped, $18,000 on on his iPad, on a cluster that he needed to deploy for a project that he just never knew that this existed from Azure. So we got done, and the email that Trevor sent to his boss, who runs kind of all of this pre-sale arm, was something to the effect of, first of all, we will spend any amount of money we want to on VMUGs next year, because there is obviously a demand for what we're doing that we haven't been, this is a community we haven't tapped into at all. And he's like, and secondly, can we just have Jeramiah do all of these forever? It's like, no. No, you can't. I've been doing all of them forever for the last 10 years, and I'm happy to get you up and running. But my days of being the full-time VMUG presenter have happily come to an end. But it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun to watch this guy who, I mean, I feel like everybody kind of underestimates the amount of money that exists inside the VMware ecosystem, especially from Azure. And oh yeah, well, so Steve and I go way back. I've done keynotes and after hours, and I've done all sorts of stuff for Steve in Boston. And VMware was not at all interested in having Microsoft present. They thought we were competitive because of Hyper-V and blah, 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 blah. And so I called Steve and was like, hey, what's the best way to do this? How do I bridge this gap between here's what customers are asking for and here's what VMware's worried about? And it's me. I've literally done hundreds of these presentations over the years. I'm not gonna screw you. I'm not gonna screw my company. And Steve said, how about if we just don't ask VMware and you come do it here in Boston? I was like, well, I mean, it's your show. Like, I'll happily be there. And showed up in Boston, did the first ever, like the first time in 10 years or 11 years that Microsoft had participated in a VMUG. Was the highest rated session, was the most well-attended session of any of the vendor breakouts that were there. And then that was what triggered the president of the actual VMUG, the CEO of the VMUG, to call and spend 2 hours on the phone imploring me not to screw him by messing up anything that is going to make VMware unhappy. And then we got the other 8 or 9 or however many that we did scheduled. So yeah, Steve is my partner in crime when it comes to either trying out ridiculous new presentations that I've never done before, or like when he decided to try starting that after hours thing that they were doing for a while. Yeah, I would argue. How about I'm done doing those presentations? I'm done doing vendor presentations. Like if Steve called and said, "Hey, I need a lunch keynote on something fun," I'd absolutely do it for him. I'd be on a plane. I'd be on a plane the minute he asked me to. Like I'll go anywhere. I'll go anywhere to help that guy out. But giving vendor sessions and keynotes, I don't know. That's kind of a thankless task, you know? Steve's pretty awesome though, even if he is 5 feet tall and a Pats fan. He's still my guy. Well, are there very many apologetic Pats fans? Let's be honest. I feel like Pats fans at this point are like unapologetic in a very only found in Boston way. It's like there are no apologetic Sox fans. I think there used to be apologetic Pats fans back when the Pats sucked, but as soon as they started winning, Boston reverted to its natural state of snark and making fun of people and, you know, all the good Boston things. I think that's right. I think that's where that goes. I guess we'll find out. And then a bunch of these. Yeah, I don't know, it's been kind of fun to watch baseball. It's weird for me because it makes me extraordinarily uncomfortable. Like just my level of anxiety with COVID is high enough that seeing people like pretend everything's okay and running around on a baseball field and, you know, sitting in a dugout together kind of drives me a little bit crazy. But there are that part I love. Like the fact that you can hear what everybody's saying and you can hear the conversations between the pitchers, like that part I'm in love with. Like I'm so excited about that. Yeah, you get what is it, Bryson, who decides that he's just going to throw a fit every other hole. What am I looking for? Where are you? Yeah, they've done I guess I wish they were more bubbled. Like I wish that kind of like I'm really impressed with how the NBA has handled just the the whole situation with how they bubbled the teams and the process for what happens if you test positive and all of that stuff. Like I'm really impressed with how the NBA has done it. I wish MLB had been a little bit more like that, and I am fully expecting the NFL to be a shit show. I don't even know that they've figured that out yet. I mean, I think they're still arguing over. Look at that, scam likely. Go F yourself. I think they're still trying to figure out even just basic safety protocols. Like I don't know what the deal is for them. Well, here's the crazy part. Like even outside of kind of all the COVID stuff, there's no shittier place to watch a football game than from a football stadium. Like it just, I mean, even when we used to get really good, we used to get really good seats or boxes or whatever through work. I would much rather watch a football game from my couch on a TV where I can flip back and forth between all of them. And the idea of paying extra to be one of the few people who gets to go to the stadium, it's like, I don't know, it just wasn't that fun to begin with. Yeah, but even then you've paid an absolute shitload of money to get not as good a view as I get from my living room. It's just crazy. Yeah, so it will be interesting, especially, I mean, every day you see more and more people who've opted out of the year altogether. Since they let the players opt out, there are a bunch of them who either live with family or have small kids or whatever that are all saying, nope, I'm out. And it'll be interesting to see how the NFL season goes just in general. But my opinion there certainly needs to be taken with a grain of salt because I'm the guy who really, really just doesn't like football very much. I would rather watch baseball or basketball or hell, even hockey. Hockey's more fun to go to in person than football, that's for sure. I love going to hockey games. I agree. It's easier to follow for me watching it rather than watching it in person than on TV. Like they've done such a good job of making it easier to follow on TV, but I still think that's one of those. I mean, I grew up watching Caps Rangers games in Landover, Maryland at the old Cap Center, where half the fun was watching the fights in the stands. So the whole idea of going to hockey games for me is just kind of awesome. Love going to baseball games, love going to hockey games. Football, I mean, I get it. I know that there's people that, especially with the advent of fantasy football, just absolutely love it, but I can take it or leave it. Yeah, I mean, it's been brilliant. Brilliant for them. I'm surprised that the NFL hasn't gotten more directly involved with fantasy football, just from a revenue standpoint. I like I like watching college sports way more. It also makes me feel, I don't know, it also makes me feel like I am participating in the taking advantage of those kids. Like I'm excited to see where some of these proposals go now that even the NCAA realizes that getting billions of dollars in revenue with no employee cost is probably not something that's going to be sustainable. Because man, I've seen the other side of the, I've seen the you get hurt 20 minutes into your freshman year and they yank your scholarship, and you go from being the one person that the school wants to not returning your phone calls kind of thing. I always just feel a little bad at the kind of the very transactional way that college sports treats those athletes. And just how disingenuous the whole, we are students first and athletes later. Like, go fuck yourself. Like, come on. Well, and it's not like, especially at large schools, the experience of being a student is vastly, vastly different for an athlete than it is for someone who isn't there on athletic scholarship. Like the amount of resources that you have. It's funny, have you ever seen the show Last Chance U? All right, it's on Netflix. It's called Last Chance U, and I think there's maybe 4 seasons, and it follows JUCO football teams. And there are these junior colleges that are basically set up to be reclamation projects for, you've got a D1 kid that got hurt, or he got in trouble with the law, or he got in trouble with his grades or whatever, and he has to go to a JUCO and get his grades back in order, or get some game film, or it's just kids who weren't good enough to play D1 right directly out of high school, and so they're there just to build up tape and to get scholarship offers. And these kids are like, they have nothing. I mean, this last season was a bunch of kids who live in Northern California and go to Laney College in Oakland, who won the California Community College State Championship in 2018. And you've got these kids who are literally sleeping in their cars because they just need to play on the football team. And they show some of the classroom stuff, and in one of the sections there's an English teacher who has a mixed class of football players and regular students, and she refers to the football players as pee-pee. Like, you're all pee-pee. And finally, like 2 episodes in, one of the football players is like, what do you mean by pee-pee? She's like, you're all pampered pussies. And she was like, look, I mean, I've got kids in here who, like, this is what they want to do with the rest of their lives, and you get tutors, and like you cut up in class, and Like no one's gonna call you on it. You know, no one's gonna throw you out. You're gonna get, you know, your threshold. Like everything for you is different than it is for a regular student. And so it's interesting to look at something like that and then look at big time Division I athletics and realize like this whole line about athletes first or students first and athlete, like get the fuck out of here. Like that has never been true. That will never be true. All right, what do we got here? I've got 4 of these, which tells me there's a problem. Those are supposed to go somewhere. Yep, 2 matched sets of those. So where did I miss? Oh, shit. That was easy. Mm-hmm. Alright, and the rest of those I can believe are extras because there's 1 each. And I probably... Did I miss something on the back here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, that's an extra 2. And thus do we finish bag 14. All right. So it looks like bag 15 is like the lower half of the bridge. Yeah, looks like it's the superstructure part of the bridge, and then I bet you 16 is the actual bridge itself. All right. Let's check and see how Twitter is doing. Oh my God, yeah, Brian and I were talking about that earlier. I have never seen anything like that. Looked like a volcano erupted underneath that building. Yeah, and you can, and they said it was I mean, and again, I'll you know, no conspiracy theories here. They said it was a fireworks factory. And so, like, if you watch the beginning of that video, you can see like the little pieces popping and, you know, little tiny explosions that are in there while the building is burning. And then all of a sudden, it's just like the world ends explosion. And like you said, like you can see where the humidity in the air is being vaporized by the shockwave as it's moving, and it's like, holy shit. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Let's get you out of the way here a little bit. Well, unfortunately, this one looks a little more complicated than those nice bags full of big flat pieces. But that was to be expected at some point. Yeah, and I'm always nervous. I think I had a bad experience once where I dumped everything out and there was a piece caught in the corner, and So now I'm always really anal about when I open the bags, making sure that all the pieces get out of there. It's not bad though, like there's not a whole lot of pieces. And we do have our first violently pink piece. All right. That's not too bad. Alright, what time is it? 4 o'clock. Alright, so I think this will be, I think we'll do this as the last bag. I think that'll be a good stopping point, depending on how long this ends up taking to put together. Alright. Let me start with you. And here. Looks like the overall thing's going to be 4 blocks wide. Yeah? Where are you? Gotcha. Yeah, Jersey was getting crazy winds today. Like they were seeing 100-mile-an-hour winds. Just as the leftover from the hurricane. I got pretty lucky. I mean, Charlotte is far enough inland that it's not a... I mean, there's normal hurricane coming up the coast isn't going to bother us at all, but it rained for a little while yesterday, and then it was like, okay, we're done now. Now it's right back to being sunny and happy. Yeah, Brian's saying there's a tornado watch in Boston. That's craziness. What's Boston know about tornadoes? That's good. I mean, earthquakes are my least favorite natural disaster, but tornadoes are a close second. I like hurricanes where you can see them coming a week in advance and figure out where you're going to go, and especially having lived in Florida, I'm pretty okay with hurricanes being the natural disaster of choice for my life. One of my friends lives in Orange County in LA and was texting me yesterday that there was a hurricane or there was an earthquake going on. I was like, nope, 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 nope. Ain't got no time for hurricane, for earthquakes. When the earth starts moving, I'm out. Yeah. Oh, gotcha. Oh, right. Okay, that makes sense. Brian says, my older guy just walked by and saw the build and asked when he can get one of those. I absolutely think that if you love your kid, you're going to buy him one of these. Don't be a bad dad. I think these are actually still available on the Lego site. I don't think these ones are discontinued yet. Because there's been 2 or 3 versions of the Imperial Star Destroyer, and this is the most recent of them. But I mean, if it's a grand, it's a grand. Gotta love your kid, right? And this is how I make my sickness your sickness. Seeing that, well, and that's a good excuse. Like when you can say, well, I would, but you know, the mortgage needs to get paid. That's always and I feel like every house I've ever bought, I've never bought more house than I could afford, but Right. Exactly. And then the good news being, like next year, you know, I mean, if the world doesn't fall into the ocean and we all end up being dead, next year you've got, you know, a year where you don't have to buy all the extra stuff and you don't have to buy mattresses and furniture and all the rest of that shit. And hopefully you've got a year where there's a little bit more on the income side, and all of a sudden you're like, this was a good idea. Jackpot. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, dual income is something that I've never experienced. I hear it's pretty cool. I'm told, mostly by my friends who live in places where dual income is a necessity. Yeah, I guess back in the day, what would it have been? It would have been before I left VCE, so 2013 probably, maybe 2014. EMC asked me to move to Hopkinton and take over the Executive Briefing Center. And I went through and did all the interviews, and everybody was fine, and they made me an offer, and I was like, wait a minute. Like this is a raise over what I'm making now, but you want me to move to Hopkinton, which is 3x what I'm paying in North Carolina, and like it appears that I'm funding all of that out of my own pocket. And they were like, yeah, well, this is the salary range for the job. I was like, well, lesson learned is to find that out beforehand so we don't all waste our time. But I am very much, at this point, I feel like stuck in the South just because it is so stunningly affordable in all ways, but especially with housing. Even living in the largest city in the state, my housing, my taxes, my everything ends up being, you know, significantly cheaper than it would be if I lived almost anywhere else. And so you start looking at job offers. VMware wanted me to move to Palo Alto at one point, and it's just like, there's just, like, I mean, I'm embarrassed to ask for the amount of money that it would take for that to be a lateral move. Like nobody, especially me, but nobody is worth the amount of money that it costs to live in Palo Alto with a family in a house that you own. Like nobody should be making that much money. It's bananas. Is that you? Yeah, that's you. Even Boulder. I was in the company that I was working for that got acquired by NetApp was in Boulder. And even there, like I loved Boulder. I loved Colorado and would have loved to move out there, but you have to live an hour away from work just to make it even reasonably affordable. It's like, damn. And this is, oh, you know what? Those are the wrong size, aren't they? Maybe. Yep, these are the wrong size. That's why it doesn't line up. I mean, I'd move back there in a heartbeat, you know, if there was a job or some reason to, but it's damn expensive. You can stay high all the time though, so you mostly don't notice it, I think. Not in North Carolina. Marijuana is something those black people do, and we just don't hold cotton with that down here. Bullshit. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun living in like the fourth most racist state in the country. You know, good times. Good times. But that's definitely, like, in addition, I mean, of all of the states, North Carolina spent so much time getting good at growing tobacco that you would think that North Carolina would be first in line to say, hell yeah, let's put that to use and generate some tax revenue. But not gonna do. Well, tobacco sales are, you know, I mean, the number of fields that are sitting empty because nobody buys tobacco in the same amounts they used to before are stunning. Like it's not an economic decision for them. It is purely, in my opinion, purely a racial one. The good white people of North Carolina don't do that kind of thing because Jesus says not to. Yep. Every day. Welcome to North Carolina. All right, where are you going? You are going. Let's just attach on top, huh? All right. Look at that. It fits. Yes. Yeah, it was before the renovation, so it was still old school 42 South Bryan. It was big mahogany panels and, you know, the venerable old lady that was EMC giving executive briefings. I mean, I would have done it had the money worked out. My ex-wife freaked out when I told her that the job offer included a move to Boston. She was not pleased with that at all. I don't think it broke her heart at all to find out that there wasn't going to be nearly enough money to move there. She wanted nothing to do with Boston winters. Not that I can blame her. lots of little side quests that end up getting attached in this one. Is that right? Yeah, it looks right. No, not you. Not you, you. There's one more here. Where are you? Oh, you're hiding. Oh, they don't tell us where that goes yet. Okay. I'll just set it aside then. Fine, be that way. having, and they're laughing at me in chat right now, but I'm having significant trouble remembering what day of the week it is. Kind of all the time. It's pretty fun. Yeah. There you go. Today is my youngest of my two brothers. Today is his 40th birthday. And then tomorrow is my son's 14th birthday. It is a week of birthdays. Wait. What the hell am I doing? I don't even know. That's totally sideways. Isn't it? Alright. Let's do this the right way. Like that. Jesus. 1, 2. There we go. And then all sorts of shit attached to shit. Okay. You. You. Alright, and then this whole thing does what? Attaches there. Yep. I don't know what it's supposed to do, but that's how the instructions say to put it together. Take you and you. We need 2 of these? No, just the one. Okay. Goes like that. Like that. You go there, and you go there. This is weird ass looking. Like, it's hard to even tell kind of what this is going to be when it gets done. I don't even know. Yeah, you totally should, Brian. I mean, like I don't want to, like I don't want to oversell it, but the just the sheer amount of land, whether you're looking for kind of the nice fancy house with the big pool, or you're looking for a whole bunch of, acreage where you can, I don't know, like farm chickens or whatever the hell you want to do. There's just so much land and it is so cheap. But it always ends up being family, right? I mean, it always ends up being, the kids are here, the ex-wife is here. Even if I wanted to go somewhere, it just makes it more complicated, even if it was a good financial decision. Just kind of is what it is. Doesn't mean it wouldn't be awesome though. Would be awesome. Yeah, the family's the hardest to overcome. I mean, even if the jobs don't get in the way, even if like all the rest of it works out the way you want it to, we tend to end up settling where we have family. And in my case, it's not even my extended family, it's just the kids and all the stuff that existed down here. And like I said, I'd be hard pressed to go anywhere else and get anything near what I have anywhere else in the U.S. for sure. But it would be a fun exercise just to pull up Zillow and start looking at what you could get down here for your same mortgage payment. I am confident that it will open your eyes. It's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Attaches there. And then these guys, that's kind of cool. Alright, so that becomes the place to join them. The two side plates that we put, the yellow and red, become the mounting point for something to bridge them and put them together. We've got two extra pieces. Oh, and it doesn't even say put it anywhere. It just says set it aside and we'll build the rest on there. So, all right, it is 4:30. I think we're gonna call it. I'm sure that at some point this is gonna end up on here somewhere. Maybe back there. I don't know. Yeah, probably back there. But well, it looks like we'll get the rest of it on there with bag 16. But thanks for hanging out, Brian. Have a good afternoon. Say hi to the family for me, and I'll catch up with you. I'll catch up with you later. We're gonna go. Let's just go ahead and keep the Tuesday. We'll try to do the Tuesday in the afternoon. I wanted to do it closer to noon, and just meetings and shit got away from me. But we'll probably try to stick with 2 o'clock, and we'll see what happens. But enjoy. Thanks for hanging out in Discord, Sean. For as long as you were in there, I appreciate it. But we'll catch up with everybody later. Thanks, everyone. I'll catch up with you. See you next time.